Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Elaine and today I will be talking about my collection of mid-range luxury bags. So if you've seen my Songmont review and my Fleuron review, you see that I am a fan of mid-range luxury bags. I don't really like the term mid-range luxury. I feel like it is a misnomer. As I said in my Songmont review, luxury to me seems like something about extravagance and unnecessary. And a lot of these bags I feel like are mid-ranged in price, but they are practical. They're very useful. They're not in any way extravagant. So, I mean, in general, I want to call them mid-range high quality bags. But whatever you call them, they're usually priced anywhere between $200 to $300 on the low end, and then on the very high end would be up to $1,000, but you rarely see anything over $1,200. And I have quite a few in my collection that I'll be going over today. I'll start with sort of the higher priced ones and then go down to the more reasonably priced ones, but they're all not big brand names. I mean, some are bigger than others, but they're not a conglomerate. And these are the ones that have lasted in my closet. There are definitely several that I've tried that I ended up not keeping, and I wouldn't recommend. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to start with a really obscure one, and I'm starting with this one because the top range of their bag line is very, very expensive, even though, they're on the low end, they're also fairly reasonable. So this is a bucket bag from the brand Wuhe Leathers. I talk about it in my September splurges video. Wuhe Leathers is a bag brand out of China. I actually connected with the maker and his Instagram handle is Binshushu, and I talked to him online about, the quality of his bags, how they're made. And so each one is made to order. The leather is from a fairly known French tannery called Tannery Remy Cariat, and they provide some leathers to Hermes, or they have in the past, but they do supply a lot of great leathers to artisans around the world. So this is the bucket bag in the Berenia Faubourg ebony color. So Berenia Faubourg can also be in a sort of a tan color here. I prefer the darker brown, but the texture is sort of the same. It is a grained calf skin. I don't know if it's anything like the Berenia Faubourg used by Hermes. Someday I hope to find out. On the top range of their bag line is handcrafted, made to order top handle bags. It's different from like the Birkin or the Kelly. He has his own style and his own design, but he does use Himalayan croc. That's on the high end. On the low end, they have the mini bucket bags, not in the Berenia leather, but in some other leathers that are already made that you can buy, and they'll ship immediately. So that's a pretty good price. This one here, I got it for $7.99. Did not have to pay tariffs, did not have to pay shipping. It does take 3 to 5 weeks to make a bucket bag, and it would take longer if you were to order something truly bespoke. Choose your colors, choose your size, choose your handle length. So I'm thinking about it. We'll see if I end up doing it, but I do think the quality is good. The inside of this one is a beautiful suede. I've used this quite a bit. I mean, as you can see, it's starting to develop a little bit of its own character, but yeah, it's a great bag, great leather, very clean stitching, also great customer service. You're talking to the actual owner and maker of these bags. It is a combination of machine stitching and hand stitching. So I think it just depends on the product and the part of the bag. For $7.99 to have a bespoke bucket bag is a good value. Just for reference, the Ree Projects tote that looks very much like this but has less design features and less hardware, I think currently goes for, I want to say like $1,800, maybe $1,850. I highly recommend checking them out if you are interested in any of their sort of classic bag styles. And next is the bag brand Michino Paris. So again, I also got this in September. So I got both of these bags at the same time, and I have to say both are very good quality, very good value. So Michino Paris is a bag brand out of France, a Japanese bag designer. His name is Yasu Michino, and he's currently living in Paris. And he's a bag designer by trade. And I have to say, I think he's really coming into his own in the last couple of years. This one is called the Boston bag, the surprising Boston bag, because inside is beautiful pop of color. Inside is chev leather and the outside is grained calfskin. This calfskin is also from the tannery Ree Projects in France, just like the one from Wuhe Leathers. That's actually how I found both of them, is through the tannery Ree Projects Instagram page. So yes, all his bags are made in Italy, so they are, you know, priced on the high end. So this one here is, I think, $14.90 now in US dollars. When I bought it, I think it was $12.90. They did unfortunately just have a price increase. His bags range from, on the high end, his most expensive bag is $1,900, about $19.90, and that's for like a very big leather briefcase. And then on the low end, it is $10.90 for a very small bucket bag. Is that mid-range? Not really. It's definitely pushing it. It's on the high end. But I do think it is because he uses excellent materials, you know, highly skilled labor out of Italy. So, you know, construction is beautiful, top notch. I think for the untrained eye, if you said, oh, this is like an Hermes bag, like you would believe it. It's not that far off. The only thing is that this is actually better designed than an Hermes bag. Like, I do have the plume. I'll probably do a review of this and do a side-by-side comparison, but the plume is definitely not as well designed as this bag. And first and foremost, it's because these straps very easily go over my shoulder. It's perfect width. He's really thought of everything. 2 zippers to go both ways. There's a lot of good things about this bag. Yes, it's on the higher end, but I think if you are looking for almost Hermes quality, is a really good option. My next bag is this leather bag from Longchamp. Excuse my pronunciation. I'm purposely choosing just leather bags in this category, by the way, just to make it a little bit easier because I already do have a fairly long list here. This is a mini Pliage leather tote. So it's actually, I think this is their older size. I'm not sure if they sell this anymore. I do have a blog review of this bag, comparing it with the nylon one here. I no longer have the nylon one. I mean, I did like it, but I just didn't really need 2, and out of the 2, I prefer this leather one. This is a great bag, fits quite a bit, has my shoulder strap in here. This color is a little bit harder to style because I do wear a lot of blues, and I feel like the blues don't really go together. It's beautiful quality still. Leather is really nice. Longchamp is known for their nylon, of course, the Le Pliage totes, but I have to say, I think their leather totes or leather bags are also made with really good quality. I took a look at their website just recently, and their price range is from $15.20 on the very high end, which is like a big leather tote, to $280 for a small fanny pack. I think the new iterations of this leather bag is around $380. If you ever get a chance to go to Europe, I highly recommend buying Longchamp there. Like, their prices for Longchamp is really good. You can probably find a bunch on the resale market. You know, since they are one of the bigger brands, so they do produce quite a bit. And next on my list is Polene. So this is currently my only Polene bag, but I had quite a few. I did kind of stop buying from them because my numero un mini had some quality control issues and their customer service wasn't great. That kind of turned me off from the brand for a while until I saw this. So when I first ordered this, it was called numero uns, and then they changed it to the berry bag. But I did like it because they have the fun clasp here. It's fairly well constructed. The leather's beautiful, well designed, well crafted. Had a Mochi Mini. I did order that earlier this year. I did do a review. I did a reel on that, which I'll link here. But I did end up returning that because the leather was super plasticky. You know, I had in the comments, it's a very structured bag, so it's gonna need to be more rigid, and you know, maybe that's why there's a thicker plastic coating on the leather, but it just didn't feel luxurious to me, especially for the price point, because I think the Mochi Mini, I think, is in the, I want to say $500 to $600 range. So Polene, the range is $11.90 for one of those really ornate, like I think beaded bags. That's sort of like a limited edition. And on the lower end is the micro numero un, which is like a mini bag, and that is priced at $220. I'm holding on to this one, even though I don't use it very often, but sort of like my Polene gold standard for leather. you know, this is what I use to compare everything with. And I still actually really like the design. I think it's really cute. I think Polene is still a good bag brand. I think it's hit or miss. Like I definitely, out of the 4 bags that I got from Polene, I returned 2, you know, so I only have a 50% success rate with them. So that's next. And actually, I just sold my Fleuron Mini Swann, so unfortunately don't have it with me right now, but I do have a full review of that, a Fleuron Mini Swann versus Swann review here. But I do think the quality of Fleuron is good. I would say it's the same as like Polene. In the end, I ended up selling the mini because it was just a little too small. And then I wasn't really sure about the regular Swann, so I did end up selling it, but I did want to sort of do an honorable mention of them here because up to just like yesterday, I did have a Fleuron bag. And their price range for Fleuron is $1,100 for a bigger tote bag, and then $540 for a smaller crossbody bag. So I would say it's kind of on the higher end as well. If you were to ask me between Polene and Fleuron, I probably would go with Polene. I think Polene probably holds their value a little bit better on the resale market. They are a little bit better known. And I think design-wise, I also lean towards Polene. And next on my list is a bag brand called Ree Projects. And so I got this, I think I got this in 2020. I've had this one for quite a while. And I used this bag quite a bit back then. As you can see, it has a crossbody strap that clips in the middle here. It has 2 compartments and has a really interesting design, which I feel like I see it nowadays maybe from, I want to say Ferragamo. I'll look it up and I'll put it here. But Ree Projects came out with this design first, like a long time ago. So this bag brand is out of Amsterdam. It is designed by, I think her name is Desiree, and she is based out of Amsterdam, but all her bags are made in Italy. So it kind of has the same sort of Mansur Gabrielle, smooth, kind of slightly shiny calfskin, very well made. They are on the higher end, so her bags range from about $1,060 to $587 for a clutch. I think this is the Mini Ann Tote. I think they go for around $500 to $600. You can find them sometimes on the secondhand market for a really good price because, you know, it's not very well known. I actually have had a couple bags from Ree Projects, but this is definitely my favorite. Construction is impeccable. Stitching is beautiful. I've used this a ton, and honestly, the wear is pretty minimal. I have 1 pop stitch here and a little bit of corner wear, but it's not terrible. Leather edging is also very beautiful. So I highly recommend checking out her bags if you like the smooth calfskin type of leather with like a little bit different design. Yeah, and you know, it's a minority woman-owned business, so there's that. But yes, I really love her bags. And we're almost near the end here. This is second to last. This is my East-West curve bag from Stow London. I did do a review on them. You can check it out here. I got this one for around $350 because I got it secondhand from eBay. I think right now they're priced at $550. I think, you know, these bags are also made in Ubrik, so just like Polene. They aren't, of course, as big of a name, and they don't have as many bags styles, but if you watched my review of them, you'll know that they recently hired Tanner Leatherstein as their director of craft. So, you know, maybe they're trying to use some of that synergy to kind of get their name out there. And also maybe they needed his expertise because I did get a comment on my Stow London review that their Stow London bag smelled terrible. Yeah, I mean, mine doesn't smell terrible, but it doesn't smell like leather either. So I'm not sure how it smelled when the first owner had this bag. But for now, you know, nothing smells. My hand doesn't smell. I can tell you a story about the worst leather bag that I got from a mid-range luxury brand at the end of this video here. But I think it's a great value, even at $5.50, if you really like this style of bag. I should also mention that when I did the review, I had used it at least like 4 or 5 times, but it wasn't a lot. But since using it, I have found out that one thing to note, and I'll show you to you right here, but the bag sags in a weird way if you stuff it with a lot of heavy things. I think the curved size is a good size for those who carry a lot of things on the daily. I looked at the mini one. The mini one's cute, but I actually don't think I could fit all my essentials in there. So Stow London, the price range on the high end is $800. And then on the low end, it is $245 for like a phone pouch. As Tanner said, Stow London's multiplier, retail multiplier is about 2x. So I think that's how they are able to be on the low end. Ultra luxury, Hermes, Chanel, so on and so forth, Dior, they're using 10 to 15x, I think, at least over 10x. I think mid-range luxury bags can sit in this sweet spot because their whatever retail multiplier is single digits, probably not over 6 or 7x. You know, they're really sticking to that 5 to 2x range. So yeah. And then last but not least, all right, so as you can see, this is my last mid-range luxury brand that I'm going to talk about today, and they are sitting on the low end of the spectrum here. So as I talked about the Stow London, you know, they're using a 2x multiplier. I think Songmont is also probably using a 2x multiplier, but the big difference manufacturing for Stow is in Ubrik, while Songmont makes all their bags in China. I mean, it's still a very good producer, very good manufacturer, high quality, attention to detail. But I think if you're looking for something on the lower end of the mid-range luxury category, Songmont is a great option. And as you can see, I'm a fan. So I did do a Songmont review of these 3 bags. And actually, sorry, I need to get one more. All right, I got my newest Songmont bag. And so if you saw my unboxing of this bag, I just got this a couple of weeks ago. So now I have 4 Songmont bags. All of them I purchased with my own money. None of this was gifted, nor is it sponsored. Though, you know, since I'm such a big fan, I would be open to it. Songmont, if you're listening. But yeah, so this one is my newest. It's the mini bowling bag. I think the Yore line is because of this flap here. So there's one here. And this is also a Yore bag. This is the extra large minimal version Yore bag. That would fit a phone here. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Songmont bags. I think they're able to keep their prices reasonable because of the 2x multiplier and because their bags are produced in China. Their leather quality, I think, is good. Their dust bags don't feel as quality. Some of the inner linings of some of these bags are also not my favorite. But I think where Songmont makes up for it is not just the price, but their design. So I actually really appreciate how well designed their bags are. I mean, I already went over it in my Songmont review, so I don't want to like belabor the point here. But I find that one, they, you know, of course do their best to have a product that's well designed from the get-go, but you know, if there needs to be improvements, they actually listen to their customers and they improve the bag. So as I mentioned in that review, the Song bag originally came with this like very useless flat pouch, and now they have a very useful pouch that I actually don't even have in here because I use it for all my bags. So if you see a lot of my reviews, you'll see a canvas pouch with this sort of green edging, and that's from this bag. So as you can see, I have like 1 of all the other bags, but I have 4 of the Songmonts. I think if you're looking for a well-designed, well-made bag, Songmont is a really good choice. So I personally do not have a discount code or promo code, at least maybe not yet. As of time of filming, we'll see, fingers crossed. But otherwise, you can totally find them all on Google. So Songmont, last but not least, their price range on the high end is $758, down to $119 for a mini Luna bag. All right, and last but not least, I just want to go over real quick all the other mid-range luxury bags that I ended up not keeping that I had tried out in the past, and sort of my thoughts on the brand at that time. You know, that's not to say they couldn't have improved and they have better quality now, so please let me know if you have experience with any of these following brands and if things are good and that maybe I just got a dud. So first is Mansur Gavriel. Actually, Mansur Gavriel, I've had a ton of bags. When I first started writing my blog, a lot of my reviews were on Mansur Gavriel bags. I was a huge fan for a very long time. I still think their quality is decent. I was an ardent fan in the beginning, and then towards the end, maybe in like 2021, not so much. I think the last one I had was the Protea bag, which was like a crumpled mess. Next, Kuyana. So I do have a couple Kuyana reviews. I haven't had a bag from them recently, so definitely I think their bag quality could have improved. I mean, their old stuff was actually really good. I had a friend who loved her bag to death, and like it held up really well. Daily wear for like at least several years, if not more. Their bags are made with leather from Turkey, I want to say, and so I don't have a whole lot of experience with Turkish leather, but I mean, I think Tanner is maybe, Leatherstein's maybe from around there. So I know, I'm sure it's a mixed bag. There's good and bad. The last Kuyana bag I had was like this large leather weekender, which was very heavy, and the leather was kind of plasticky. It's been several years, so maybe they've improved. And I do see some of their designs are actually really cute. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do another one soon. J.W. Anderson, I had the, what was that bag? It was like a chain link bag. And I purposely got it in canvas because I saw the leather ones were not good. I love Jonathan Anderson, but unfortunately, I'm just not a fan of his J.W. Anderson line. I think the design is good, but you know, J.W. Anderson doesn't have the powerhouse of production, you know, that Loewe had or Dior has. I think if you get used to Loewe bags and you expect something similar from J.W. Anderson, it's not it. I also tried the Horse. So I do have a video review of the Horse Mini Clementine, and you know, it's a mixed bag because like there's people who love it, and then I unfortunately did not love it. And a big part of that was because the leather was terrible. Like the leather smelled so bad. It was the worst leather bag I've ever had or purchased. I originally had it in my closet and I couldn't. It was smelled so bad. I had to put it in our guest room and let it air out for weeks. And finally, like it was enough so that I couldn't smell it. But if I put my nose up real close, I could still smell it. So yeah, not a fan. Hopefully, you know, they figured out their sourcing for their leather so that they don't make bags that smell terrible anymore. But like the fact that they'll still send it out, I mean, points to some major quality control issues. But the design was good. And if you don't have a puzzle bag and you don't want an exact dupe like the one from Quince, then, you know, it's a pretty good option. I also tried La Portegna. That is from Spain. That was one of the brands that Tanner Leatherstein reviewed early on, and then he liked it. So then I bought it, and I didn't like it, and then I gave it to a friend, and then it like basically broke apart on her. So yeah, I can't recommend it. I also had one from Elme. I also reviewed on the blog. Was terrible, very plasticky leather, and I got it brand new and it was already had like leather edging chipped. And last but not least, the Curated. So I've done reviews on the Curated coats. This is a brand out of Sweden, I think, by an Australian, a minority woman owned brand. I do really like her coats. I still use her coats. It's been like 3, 4, 5 years now. I have several, and they're high quality, well-made coats, no polyester. But I did end up getting a bag when she first went into bag making, and it was not good. Like it looks like the Celine box bag, but it was stiff. It was plasticky. It was just, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's better now. I mean, she's had at least several years, I think, of bag making under her belt, so I would hope that it is better. But yes, so that sort of recaps all the other bags that I've tried in the mid-range luxury sector that I don't currently own because I didn't love them. And I guess last but not least, a little note about Korean bag brands. So I do have a Korean bag brand review here, where I basically bought a bunch of these from W Concept. I didn't add them in this review here because I feel like Korean bag brands are kind of a mixed bag too. Like, my favorite right now is Facade Pattern. I do talk about it in that review. It is a dupe for the Row 90s bag. They do dupes well, where it's just similar enough where you're like, that looks like that bag, but it's not an exact ripoff. And I also do like Marge Sherwood. So their bags, a lot of the popular ones kind of look like the Miu Miu bow bag. I was debating putting them in this review, but there's just so many options if you start looking into Korean brands. But I do think there's quite a few good ones, but there's also quite a few that are like worse than Zara. So it's hard to tell. At least W Concept for the most part has decent return policy. I tried to kind of cool it on the mid-range luxury because, as you can see, I have a ton of. I think it's important that everyone tries out bags from this category because, you know, just because something is super expensive and from a big conglomerate brand doesn't mean it's going to be well designed or well made and last. I think a lot of these newer bag brands are showing the world that, you know, you can get a good bag, well designed, good leather, good craftsmanship for a really good price. And it's because they're not taking in a ton of profit. They're just trying to build a business that caters to their customers, and they're not spending a ton on marketing. All right, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. What did you think about this review? I'd be interested to hear, you know, what are some of your favorite mid-range luxury bags? What are your favorite brands coming out? Sort of these emerging brands in the leather bag world. Or, you know, if you haven't tried any yet, which one would you be interested in trying? Please let me know in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for watching if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my reviews, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!